Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason. Today we're taking a look at Cilia and Charybdis in an extremely high level match of Beyond All Reason. We're taking a look at some of the pros that today are going to be clashing on this pit-ridden hellscape. Maybe hellscape's a little too critical actually. There is some plant life here, not to say that maybe, you know, there's some pocket of relief in the many hells that I'm sure these robots fight over. But certainly this is an interesting one. It's got a lot of interesting spots, little low grounds that you want to fight over, as well as plenty of metal extractors out across the barren surfaces, out on the, I guess the highlands here, just kind of in the middle areas of the map where there's a lot of flat terrain, and then you sort of have, yeah, these little pockets. I guess they're useful for artillery and that sort of thing. But anyways, representing our blue team here on the southern side is the Cortex Commander, goes by the name of Unicorn Cats, clocking in at 39 true skill here, and over 500 hours. Going to be leading the blue team potentially to victory. On the right-hand side, right up on the front lines. I do love to see that. Oftentimes in these pro games, it's a little bit less important, right? Who goes front, who goes back. Pretty much everybody knows how to eco, or how to air, or how to tech, or how to front line. All those different roles are sort of abstracted to basically any one person's responsibility. So I feel like it really makes a lot of sense that your strongest player should probably go in the front lines, where suddenly the roles shift, and the most important impact can usually be had winning a lane or two. Representing the red team all the way up on the northern side is an Armada commander. Hiding in the back here goes by the name of Waddler. Going to be clocking in at a whopping 61 true skill. My goodness. Coming in with, what is that? I believe that's the over 1,000 hours mark is the silver chevrons. I really ought to go freshen up on those. I'm pretty sure that's over 1,000 as you get the silver, all silver chevrons right there. So impressive, to say the very least. A very well-experienced player here, going to be showing us what they've got in the back lines of the red team. Going for a little bit of a windmill economy, and my goodness, I've been covering a lot of these less traditional matches, and oftentimes they get off to a slower start, but the pros are already sending rovers and rascals and ticks and everything else that they can muster across the map right here. We have a couple of rovers sent across by Zytka, trying to micro them as best as possible to snipe this metal extractor here, but counter rovers are going to deflect those quite nicely. We do have two blitzes that were sent across over here. I guess the idea here from OS1 Clan Ado, quite a name tag right there. Gonna break some computer systems with a name tag like that. I guess the idea is we're going to invest a little bit more heavily than usual on offense right here, in the hopes that we can do even more damage, right? So if you put a little more money into it, but it means that you get 2 or 3 times more damage than you otherwise would have, then I would say it's probably worth it. And yeah, you know what? Sniping 2 windmills, sniping 2 metal extractors right there, certainly not bad. 2 metal extractors about the cost of a single blitz here. So yeah, taking down these solar panels definitely justifies this. And you know what? Those blitzes have certainly paid for themselves at this point. So they're gonna get a 3rd metal extractor as well. Very nicely done right here by our powder blue commander. Looks like Resbot has been sniped down right here by a couple of rovers. That's going to be a nice little pick right there for Victor the Victor the 12th. I think we had a Victor the 14th. A lot of Victors, apparently. I've got an uncle named Victor. Anyway, I am inevitable. Over on the right-hand side, the yellow commander here. Not really in a backline position, actually, because there's this kind of big open lane over here. You can't really afford to be as greedy of a backliner as you really normally would be able to. So I like to see, what I mean by that is that I like to see that this commander is pushing forward here, building some LLTs, setting up a little bit of static defense. We do have some grunts here to ward off the ticks, but the blitzes are certainly going to be more than enough to deal with, at the very least, a single grunt. Maybe a couple of them even. Constructor goes down. That's a little bit of a pain. Yeah, certainly not ideal. That constructor going down means that the expansion's going to be a little bit slower here. I Will Conquer's basically ready to move the commander forward. We've got the build power up in the backlines right now, so at the very least, it's not like we're, it's not like we're too far behind with that constructor going down, but it also means we're not going to be able to set up any of those T1 defenses, right? You're not going to be able to set up an agitator, you're not going to be able to set up any heavy laser turrets, any of that sort of stuff, all of which going to be denied right there as the constructor goes down. Screwish also moving forward now with the commander here, deciding to take some of these metal extractors that otherwise I think should have gone to Nacho Man. I guess Nacho Man not sending a constructor forward on this right-hand side, so Screwish stepping up to the plate here. Yeah, that's a little awkward. Looks like Nacho Man was planning on taking those metal extractors, but not fast enough to Screwish's liking here. Can't blame him. I feel like, you gotta get those metal extractors up and running as quick as possible. You can see basically everybody else across the board has gotten up to their line and has their metal extractors conquered here. So I really don't mind that we're taking these metal extractors. This is gonna be awkward because they're gonna start splitting the 1.8 metal that comes out of this here. Yeah, that'll be a little bit odd. No, actually. Oh, I guess they're not going to split it. I thought that's what happens, is they split the metal, but I guess not in this case. Whoa, Janus tank moves a little too far forward here. Might fire twice. There we go. Okay, well, we get a second firing off, so at least we're going to kill a couple of units, but still not a perfectly efficient usage of that Janus right there. Going to lose it on the front lines. Not the end of the world for the Powder Blue Commander. Can obviously go back and reclaim all of that, but yeah, going to be, at the very least, down a little bit of firepower on the fronts. We're stabilizing into a bit of a frontline situation here. Unicorn Cat's setting up the frontline bot lab here. Are we going for double bot lab production? Okay, I mean, we haven't eaten up this one in the back. Oh, okay, we're gonna start eating it up right now. Okay, that could work out then. Yeah, producing from the front line obviously gonna mean that you have your production base right on top. Means you're gonna have units, reinforcements right on the front lines basically as quick as possible. But it also means, of course, if you get pushed even just a little bit, you're gonna be in a little bit of a tricky situation. Interesting, the commentators are pointing out the spectators, I guess I'm the commentators, wants to upgrade the Geos ASAP. That's an interesting idea, building the T2 lab down there and then eventually transporting the T2 constructor out. I wonder if it's a time save over just building it in your main area and then transporting the T2 constructor after the fact. A little bit more protected, I suppose, from run-bys. You're not really going to be able to get anything down into that hill, or into that valley, rather. Could be quite powerful. Agitators on the front line right here for Unicorn Cat's going to be berating some of these blitzes here on the front lines to get at least one of them down, and I think they'll be taking down a couple more. Have to constantly be shifting your army around once those rocket bots come out, otherwise they will slowly but surely whittle you down to nothing but splinters. Go and clear the map here. All the spectator chat is a little bit overbearing. There have been suggestions that I pay more attention to the chat. I'll try my best, but yeah, there's a lot to watch in one of these 8v8 games. Very difficult to spread my attention so thin. Oftentimes I miss fights because of that. And yeah, you know, I'd rather see the action. I like these aggravators. Blasting away. These are some really experienced aggravators, actually. I mean, almost all of these have some sort of chevron right here, which is pretty impressive. Heavy laser tower is up right now, which will be pretty daunting for those to push into. Yeah, I have to say, those heavy laser towers are pretty threatening to those agitators. Looks like Commander went down over here. Okay, nice little snipe. Yeah, looks like it was a trade. It's gonna be, let's see here, that's Victor 12 and Unicorn Cat's Commanders trading out right now. Not bad, especially considering we have the Resbot here to eat up all these corpses, so that's going to be a lot of metal going back to the blue team right now. Yeah, everyone's going to be focusing over here. Like the blue player says, I've drawn the enemy attack now. Absolutely, everybody on the blue, or on the red team rather, is going to be converging in this direction. You can already see Waddler sent a commander forward. I Will Conquer is sending in this direction. Zydka is going this direction as well. Everybody is moving their forces to try and capture those commander wreckages. Now, at the very least, Unicorn Cats did salvage at least a little more than half of that commander wreckage, but still gonna be losing some metal here to the red team, handing it over there. Was it worth it in the end? I mean, it essentially helped the T2 economy get up and running right here for the red team, so that might have been a little bit more of an expense than the blue player was really bargaining for. We're going for some anti-air here. Interesting. Wonder why. I don't think we've seen any tremendous shuriken presence, and this is extremely powerful anti-air, very costly anti-air. 800 metal, nearly 8,000 energy in order to get the Eradicator up and running. I don't hate it, but it's certainly a costly expense here, and I wonder if we're going to be able to use it for anything. T2 transition underway. We do have T2 constructors being handed out all over the place. We can see that one of those T2 constructors has been handed over to Unicorn Cats over here. Waddler, meanwhile, still... Did I say Fiddler earlier? Waddler. Going to be building a healthy economy back here with 2 advanced Geos in the pits. Definitely going to be a whole lot of energy going back to the red commander. Certainly enough to start building up that T2 economy really quickly. Usually you have to get a APHIS up and running before you really start to climb that economy exponentially, but with 2 advanced geothermals, certainly that's going to come up a whole lot quicker. Gives you a little bit of a jump start. A lot of shurikens are shown on the front lines here. Didn't get used, though. Okay, we're being very cautious right now. Yeah. Ferret pops up here. Fighters are pulled. Okay, there we go. Fighters are pulled in order to cover the shuriken, actually, and they're going to start paralyzing whatever they can over here. The shuriken want to catch any of these rocketeers within range of the static defenses here. That's what we're trying to do. Not going to be an easy feat, though. I Will Conquer being very careful with that unit movement, being extra cautious, and I think that's exactly the right idea here. Making sure not to overstep the bounds, just jumping forward, doing a little bit of damage, falling back, making sure to, yeah, do consistent, steady, but not very risky damage. Left-hand side looking pretty good for the blue team. Louis Barron, or maybe it's Louis Barron. Either way. A Lavender player as well as the Powder Blue player going to be working in tandem here. We do see a heavy laser tower coming up right here as well, so that'll be nice for stabilizing this front line, at least deterring any of those rocket bots from pushing forward. We do have some medium tanks and some Janices moving over on the left-hand side. We'll have to see if those can get any work done. For the time being, though, the vehicle I have going down right here for Scrooge is putting him in a really awkward position. This player right in front of him, Nacho Man, the lowest ranked player on this team, so maybe just a little less experienced. A little bit falling behind here. We're certainly seeing a lack of units on the front lines. Not for lack of trying, however. It's just that those have been well disassembled by those more efficient vehicles here, and at this point, it's going to be really difficult to claw back into this game from that position. That is doubly compounded on the fact that we do have T2 being propagated all over the place here. You can see T2 coming up in the back lines right now. We have T2 about to hit the fields for Louis Barron, or Louis Barron, or however it's supposed to be pronounced, as well as Powder Blue over here. Yeah, once that T2 hits the battlefield, it's going to amplify things, right? If we stay in T1, it just 4x's essentially the amount of T1 that you can produce, or it gets you ready to step into T2 production full and proper. Nice catch with the Shuriken over here. Paralyzing a couple of those units, but a couple units is really all it takes to swing this battle. Eventually the Shuriken are shot down, but not before a majority of Zydeco's force here is blasted apart as well. Loads of media tanks here for Galcator. I'd love to see maybe a couple of Resbots included in this mix, though, just to patch up some of those tanks. A lot of them are really, really low right now. We do have the construction turret here, so that's essentially doing that job, but it's only able to do so much here. JTL and Gof, meanwhile, a little bit of a tricky situation here. Yeah, I'm inevitable and I will conquer. Similar names, I guess, working in tandem here. Very nicely done. Resbots being pumped on the front lines here to try and resurrect whatever they can. Lots of pings over here as well. JTL trying to persuade Gof back, but Gof sacrifices himself, going down with the ship here to try and stall as long as possible. Maybe it'll be effective. It did cleave that army about in half. Will it be enough, though? I'm not entirely convinced. The more land these units push forward and take, the more metal extractors slowly but surely fall here. Hounds are now out on the front lines, and they're going to start disassembling some of these units. Pardon me. Some of these units are going to be, yeah, getting real low now as these Hounds start firing into them. Hounds in their Gauss mode here to try and hit a, oh, I guess they just switched back. Yeah, just switch back to the heavy plasma. I was going to say they're in their Gauss mode to try and hit those mobile units, but I think it makes a lot of sense to go for heavy plasma against those rocket bots, and especially those rocket trucks, the missile trucks. They're definitely very, very slow moving, and so the Gauss projectile can actually do a pretty good job. The plasma projectile, rather. T3 lab already. All right. Very, very pointed, determined plan here. You can see it. The red team leader Waddler here definitely determined to get some of those T3 units out on the field. I mean, with 2 advanced geothermals cranking energy, you're going to be looking at a solid energy economy. Nearly 3,000 energy coming into the economy of the red player, basically 1 APHIS production. It's a little bit shy of 1 APHIS production, but it's definitely enough to maybe start producing, say, a couple of Marauder or something like that. This is a huge breakthrough, though. Tons of medium tanks swarming through, loads of grunts as well. T3 lab is just coming up right now. Oh, we're starting Racerbacks. Okay, interesting. I really was expecting Marauder at this stage in the game, but I guess we're going to go straight up to those slightly higher tier of units. Grunts and medium tanks have broken into the back lines. They're going to start blasting down whatever they can over here. Constructor's in a whole lot of trouble. Medium tanks, meanwhile, from the green player. Whoa, looks like a whole bunch of units have been handed over to the red player. Okay, interesting. Guess we're going to hand all of the duties to save the day right here off to the red player while these medium tanks are running directly into the back line here. Pretty uncomfortable to deal with, certainly. Grunt's still ravaging a whole bunch of the economy back here. They're going to slip into the back line of I Am Inevitable as well as I Will Conquer. Definitely a massive amount of damage dealt all across the field right now. Nice splits on the medium tanks over here as well from Galcator. Going to send a couple of them towards the red base, going to send a couple of them towards the orange base, starting to pop those economies, and the first Razorback is about to hit the fields, but it's just not out yet. Those advanced metal extractors slowly but surely falling. Emphasis on slowly. Really does take a lot from those medium tanks. Commander gets transported over here, D-guns down those tanks. Very nice cleanup right there, but still these medium tanks over on the left-hand side are ravaging that area. Meanwhile, the grunts over here, those are some Gold Star General grunts blasting apart this T2 economy, being well rewarded for their massive service towards the Cortex Empire here. Shutting down at least a significant portion of I Am Inevitable's economy here. Those advanced solar panels, doesn't seem like a lot, but they were certainly contributing at least a very stable basis for which the wind farms could contribute over the top of. Razorback finally cleans up all these medium tanks over on the left-hand side before being sent forward here. And at this point, the red player is starting to build up enough funds to go for a slightly improved economy here. So I'm expecting to see a fusion reactor. We could also disassemble the T3 and go for another APHIS if we're feeling particularly greedy, but the team is falling left, right, and center, so I really don't think we can afford to do basically anything but pump out units right now and send them to the front lines. These first T3 units that hit the field are going to be absolutely key. If we don't get these T3 units into position soon, the T1 and T2 are just going to overwhelm basically everything that the red team has to offer here. Tech's causing a lot of trouble right here. Yep. Doing, a lot of friendly fire damage, my goodness. Yeah, those ticks doing a great job of causing those units to friendly fire against the masses. Razorback gonna be great against the grunt spam that Unicorn Cats is pumped out right now. Melting away those units with ease. A lot of these T1 vehicles at risk too. Yeah, not really any way that they're gonna be able to compete against that Razorback as it blasts them down to shreds. Down go the Wolverines, down go the missile trucks, and the commander even in a little bit of trouble here. Galkator's commander, that is. Yeah. Trying to go for the D-gun right there. Not cloak, though. Oh, no. No cloak on the green commander, and it goes down to one Razorback, blasting away at it with his brother on his left, guarding his flank here. Those Razorbacks are going to go on an absolute tear through the middle of the map right now. There's also radar jammers coming up through the center of this map, or not radar jammers, Juno missiles coming up on the center of the map right here, I guess, to try and dissuade any of those ticks from spamming their way across. Got to be so careful about commanders being cloaked and tearing down your early T3 units. Going for a very far forward T3 gantry. My goodness, that is a pretty ballsy T3 gantry, if I do say so myself. We do have some idle build power over here in the form of these constructors. Or are we going to be able to reclaim this before the Razorbacks get a hold of it? Uh-oh. The Razorbacks only need to shoot at this once or twice in order to actually finish this. Oh, they do kill it. I don't think... Yeah, the blue player definitely didn't get a reclaim on that. Oh, that's a shame. That is so much metal right down the drain right there as those Razorbacks do move in, tearing apart this blue fortification. That's going to be really, really dangerous. These early Razorbacks have been tremendously effective right now. Yeah, all hands on deck to go stop these bad boys. If they fall too deep in enemy territory, of course they can be resurrected or reclaimed. But right now, all they have to do is do a tremendous amount of damage. Oh, we do have spy bots coming up, though. Nice, nice. Oh, Spybot gets killed. Oh no, we have one more. We have a backup Spybot, a second chance, if you will. Oh, a little premature, but it still connects and it shuts down two of those Razorbacks right there. A third one is available. A polygon moving the commander in here. Oh, gets the D-gun on the one active Razorback right there. Lightning tank gonna, just barely not kill the commander. Tick also trying its best. The tick kill. The tick manages to kill the commander right there. Commander doesn't manage to kill the final Razorback that was EMP'd. Two of the Razorbacks go down, but there's still two more on the front lines going to continue pushing. At this point, this is a nightmare to deal with. You really need those efficient T2 units. You need sharpshooters. You need starlights. You need any of those mammoths could work too. You need any of those T3 killers out of the T2 lab, but it's so expensive and so unlikely that we're going to see those built en masse right now. There's just no way that these Razorbacks are going to be stopped. I think Spybots were absolutely the right decision here. I think that's pretty much the only efficient way you're going to be able to deal with all this. Sharpshooters over on the right-hand side are starting to come into range right now. They're going to accidentally probably target down those lightning tanks. Yeah. Oh, Spybot gets a connection on one of those Razorbacks. That's quite nice. Gunships in the air, also going to try and deal with a whole lot of this. More and more reinforcing units coming through the middle of the map right now. Waddler sending in the lightning tanks, reinforcing all of this out of the T2 vehicle laboratory that he inherited from one of the other players here. Sharpshooters doing an excellent job at holding the defense here from JTL, but it means that, yeah, they're giving up a little bit of offensive pushback over on the right-hand side. So dealing with those T3 has essentially necessitated at least 3 or 4 players in order to deal with essentially one. It's the power of the backliner here. We do now have T3 production, by the way, up and running for Bing Bing Bang, who's gone for those cloak fusion reactors. I've always wondered if those cloak fusion reactors are viable or not. It feels like they are, but certainly it's a little bit of a contest. I was never entirely sure whether those were feasible. Anyway, Razorbacks redirected right here. They're useful, right? That's what I should say. I should finish that thought. They're useful in the sense that, like, you won't be targeted by bombers or something, but they're only as useful as, you know, you can be deceptive about where they're placed. If you put them next to your energy converters, not exactly the pinnacle of, you know, super pristine defensive thinking. Razorback out here to defend, but there's 3 Razorbacks on the red side. Starlight doing its very best. Trying its very best anyways. Commander does go down. Razorbacks in mass with the Starlights trying to blast these down. And you know what? Excellent hold right here. 2 Razorbacks do go down. We tried to micro that one back, but didn't quite get it. 2 Razorbacks do go down for the red player. 1 Razorback goes down for the Seafoam green player here. Shurikens paralyzing everything that they can. Razorback doing its very best. Medium tanks, not great against the Razorback, but certainly going to fare a little bit better than some of these other units. Sharpshooters forced to be used on this right-hand side. So tricky to use these correctly. These Mauser appear to just be dumbfiring here, so you can't really just march into that. You need to kind of flank around right here. One of the effective ways to use those sharpshooters over on in an area like that where you need to push them forward so they're not shooting at ticks. One of the most effective ways to do that is to turn them on hold fire, march them into range, and then turn them off of hold fire. And effectively what it'll do is they'll target the good units to fire at, right? They'll target the high quality units. It's one way to get some really good value out of those. Starlight here producing so much value. Seriously doing so much work right here. I think without that Starlight contributing, this would have been a little bit of a shaky situation, but those Starlights have been absolutely indispensable right now. Getting those out on the front line and getting them built up en masse would certainly be very valuable to the blue team right now. Razorback warfare. Quite bloody. I think eventually they're going to go down here. There's a weird little stalemate right there, but I think eventually those Razorbacks are going to go down. Nice little hold right here by the blue team. Yeah, you know what? These Razorbacks coming into the backline right here for Bing Bing Bang are absolutely doing a fabulous job. Going to be a lot of reclaim going into the economies over here as well. 22,000, my goodness. Definitely enough to go into a full-blown T2 transition. Sharpshooters moving forward. Definitely need to cloak these. You might as well. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, they were uncloaked for shooting purposes, but it looks like they're going to return to their cloaked position. Yeah, I think this is exactly the right idea. Move them into this little safety zone over here, and then start using them as a start actually using them to pick apart some of the more valuable units over here. Juno missile keeping the tick spam off the backs of well, both of these commanders. Juno missiles and counter Juno missiles being set up all over the place. But here we go. Finally, the sharpshooters are getting in range. Those Mausers are realigned over here, so at the very least they're going to start firing at those sharpshooters. Such a tricky battle. Neither one of them can afford to lose their army right now. If they do, it's just going to be game over on that right-hand side. Left-hand side had a bit of a tricky stalemate here as well. Some of those missile vehicles over here, the ambassadors, going to be firing away, trying to melt down some of the static defense and doing a damn good job of it, actually. We're getting into a tricky scenario here where the amount of Razorbacks sent across didn't do enough damage to really justify their expense, and now we need to get into a proper late game sort of an idea here. Titan is just about finished up in the back lines right here for the red player, who's going to be putting the finishing touches on that bad boy. I wonder if we're going to go, yeah, it looks like we're going to go 1 Titan and then back into Razorback production. 1 Titan is usually enough if you can support it with a couple of Razorbacks and then a tick spam, a grunt spam, a pawn spam, anything to keep your units safe from D-gunning. Yeah, going to be really, really valuable here. Those Razorbacks obviously very good for cleaning up the chaff, and then the Titan just a bulwark of HP. Yeah, sharpshooters are clicking away though. Down go a whole bunch of those Mauser, and just like that, the entire yellow fleet gets evaporated right there. Very, very nicely done by the green commander. Found the right opportunity, pushed in there, used the spy tank expertly right there. Nice use of resources, nice allocation of resources. And now these sharpshooters are going to have basically free reign to march on forward. Commander in a little bit of trouble. A little bit of friendly fire right there. Got to get those Juno missiles firing once more. As soon as those ticks are pushing forward, it creates problems again. Bunch of Starlights have been built over here. The mobile pulsars have been built over here in an attempt to, try and push the lines a little bit. Shuriken's going to be nice for dealing with some of these heavy tanks. Excellent for cleaning up a whole lot of those. Flak truck's going to clean up the Shurikens, though. A little bit of back and forth over here. Titan has hit the battlefield, though. This is the moment that the red team is waiting for. They need to rally around this Titan, I think. As soon as this Titan gets to the field and we can put some units behind it, we can put some actual force behind it, I think it's really going to be helpful on the front lines. Already down to 84%, though. I think it was these Starlights over here that were firing at it that really whittled that thing down. Man, they can do some serious damage. My goodness, yeah, down to 77% already. Definitely not ideal. That Titan is not comfortable being blasted by those blue laser beams. It's headed in that direction to try and go deal with all of them, but it's taking serious damage in the meantime. Oh man, that is a costly dive right there. Titan didn't manage to get to those Starlights over there. Eventually, a Razorback is going to push far forward while the Starlights are distracted by the Titan. It'll clean up a lot of these Starlights, but man, I think it was worth it to get that much damage on that Titan. 1%. Oh, it's close. So close for that Titan to go down right there. 700 HP remains of that Titan. Just barely manages to escape with its life. Very, very close call. Meanwhile, the entire army over here for the green player has been dismantled. What on earth? Oh, spy tanks in the back line here. Okay. Nice. It's a good play. Spy tank's gonna uncloak and pop a whole bunch of energy converters wherever they can find them. Not bad whatsoever. Little bit of a cheeky move right there coming out of our maroon commander. Caught it just in the nick of time. I wondered what I was seeing on my radar right there. There we go. Spy tank is spotted once more with some of those ticks. Oh, nice snipe over here though. Yeah, manages to get all the energy converters as well as all the build power over here. That's so annoying for JTL to deal with. No sharpshooters on the front lines either. All of the sharpshooters appear to have been dealt with. Very tricky. Very, very tricky. Ticks running through on the right-hand side. We need a we need a lightning turret or something over on the right-hand side to deal with all that. One hero spy tank remains in the backline right there for the red team. Razorbacks continuing to push forward despite the Titans' lack of presence on the front here. It's being repaired by the commander, slowly but surely. You know what? There's defensive Razorbacks, though. This is a really, really nice back and forth. Yeah, the Razorbacks being used sparingly right here. Oh, the base is gone. It appears that a base has been removed from the game. I guess these are the last of Bing Bing Bang's forces here. Yeah, that's gonna be the it. There's nothing left for T3 production at this point. There's a T2 laboratory up for the purple player right now, but there's no T3 whatsoever. Yeah, that's going to be really difficult to hold now. All the red player has to do, all Wobbler has to do is basically get the T3 forces moved across the map without losing too many of them. Just can't have them degunned or something like that. And yeah, going to be in a pretty phenomenal position here. Rocket Spiders trying to get cheeky over here on the left-hand side. The Banisher's not going to have any of that, though. Louis Baron going to, yeah, do a great job of cleaning all that up, moving the commander into position to try and degun down some of those. Single spy tank still moving around in the back line here. It was detected for a good long while, but it looks like it's escaped the range of that detection. So no longer. Ambassador's now firing away at whatever they can. Mostly just chaff that's being spammed forward. Dragon is out right now. Should be good fun to see that Dragon get into the action here. There's a lot of T2 fighters out, though, for the purple player, so that Dragon could absolutely get melted if it's used in the wrong place at the wrong time and it's not covered by air support. Dragons can be a really weird kind of key defensive building for, or defensive unit, rather, for fighters, because enemy fighters will lock onto the Dragon, and it means that your fighters will get a way better trade. It's a really bizarre phenomenon, but it does work out. Usually in your favor. Not in this case, though. Down goes the Dragon. Just a couple of T2 fighter were lost right there for the purple player. Definitely acceptable losses, if I do say so myself. The entire front is being held together right now by a whole bunch of Starlights blasting apart whatever they can. Certainly a powerful unit, but not exactly the pinnacle of mobility or assault. more of a grindy sort of attrition type of warfare. Scoutcraft being sent across. At the very least, we have some vision of the defensive choke point that's being set up over here by Goaf. Love that we do have the flak enabled over here, though. At the very least, going to keep bombers and scouts and that sort of thing deterred from pushing in too hard in that direction. Titan finally repaired over here. I suspect that these Resbots had something to do with that. This Titan going to start marching forward. Now it finally has cover of enough Razorbacks to actually keep chaff off of its back, and it's going to start stepping forward here, acting as sort of a mobile pulsar. Rocket launcher, pretty powerful as well. Don't want to idle those, though. Yeah, there we go. We're going to start moving them forward. Being very cautious about these. Doesn't want to lose these T3 units. They're very, very expensive right now, but also extremely, extremely powerful. These Razorbacks that have been repaired and rebuilt here, they're heroes. They've certainly got some experience under their belts. They've been doing a great job of cleaning up a whole bunch of different stuff. Starlight's over here blasting down a whole bunch of those Razorbacks, so that's quite nice. At the very least, bringing one of them to their knees. Banisher's also going to be pretty good for that, actually. Banisher missiles, not to be understated for the amount of damage that they can do. when they hit their target. Just watched about 12 Banisher missiles completely whiff on a Titan, one of the biggest targets in the game right there. Is there an in-game plan right now? I think the blue team needs a Hail Mary at this point. The red team has had an economic advantage for a good little while now, so I think at this point the blue team has got to start looking into ways that they can close out this match expeditiously. Do we see any scenarios like that coming up? It looks like we have a lot of gunships built here. I wonder if we're just building defensive gunships here just to kind of clear up any breakaway units that might try and leak through. Second Titan is at the line, though. Always a scary moment when you start to see a second Titan, because it means that there's probably a third and a fourth and a fifth and eventually, you know, a never-ending stream of Titans heading directly towards you. It means that your opponent is into an economy scale that can no longer be matched by just pure Razorbacks or Vanguards or anything like that. The upper echelon of tier 3 units are going to basically be required here. EMP missile is used. Oh, EMP missile is used. Trying to target those Titans. It takes 2 of them, though, so you have to connect the EMP missile twice. Very tricky to pull that off. We do have another missile charge. We could use it. Oh, if we could lay in those EMP missiles, that would be phenomenal, but I don't think it's going to happen. Titan's just fast enough to avoid those EMP missiles, and certainly, yeah, not going to be all too bothered by just a single one. You can see that was about half paralyzed. Pretty epic strategy to go for that. We do have a couple of spy bots out, though. Spy bots certainly could do the job. 2 spy bots connecting with those, pretty much the same as a EMP missile. Oh, nice catch right there. Yeah, manages to EMP the Titans. One of them EMP'd for 4 seconds, the other one just barely EMP'd, but an EMP missile directly to the head will shut that one off for good. 18 seconds, it's down. Might as well be the rest of the game here. Banisher's now firing away with free reign. We're going to take down that Razorback for sure. Titan being repaired by an army of Resbots in the back here. That's quite funny. They'll get blasted to cinders. Juggernaut just barely spared by the repair bot's help here. Oh, those Banisher missiles, they do hurt though. Anti-air truck's doing a good job of shooting some of these wasps out of the sky. Dragon, not going to be so affected by the flat cannon. Definitely a whole lot less affected anyways. Yeah, we need a proper endgame scenario, or endgame situation here, and I just don't see it for the blue team. The red team doing an excellent job of stepping up their economies. You can see we've handed over advanced fusion reactors and energy converters, basically all the economy necessary to pump out Titan after Titan. Just getting ready to mass produce those T3 units, now with 3 Titans on the battlefield. Resbots behind as well. One of them getting very low here, but still being endlessly repaired. Yeah, it's a tricky battle to try and come back into. You really need T3 of your own in order to put up any sort of substantial fight. There is a T3 gantry somewhere. Here it is. T3 gantry. Cortex T3 gantry actually coming up right now for Polygon. If we could get some catapults out of the line, maybe that would be a good enough comeback mechanic. Catapult's very, very good against those heavy hitting units because they're big enough of a target that the catapult can actually land a meaningful amount of its attacks, or its missiles. Sometimes it feels like the catapult is more, you know, it's more averse towards it tends to friendly fire a lot, that's what I'm trying to say. It really tends to shoot its own units a whole lot, so always risky to build those, but keeping them on the front lines where they have a really clear target can definitely be one of the best ways to use them. Dragon coming out, trying to blast away some of these tanks. I'm really hesitant to see these dragons pull towards the front lines, just because it only takes the pull of maybe 20 or so fighters before that dragon gets burst to basically nothing, shot out of the skies. Doesn't seem like the purple player is too keen to snipe it though, so I guess for the time being, not going to be the end of the world. Man, these scout plates are really draining these Banisher missiles. Actually costing the purple player a lot, the lavender player here, Louis, a lot of, actually a lot of firepower. Those Banisher missiles being wasted on anti-air kind of defeats their purpose. Marauder squeaking through the walls on the left-hand side. There's some pulsars firing at them. Didn't really do very much damage though. You know what? Oh, Louis Baron's commander is in a killer spot, though. Oh, in a killer position right here. We could D-gun them. Get your D-gun ready. Get your D-gun ready. Oh, they turn away. They turn away at just the last second. They realize there's a commander over there. Nice deflection, though. Yeah, gotta give props to the commander here behind the Marauders. Nacho Man doing a great job of avoiding the enemy commander over here. Louis Cloaks, and finally, I hope it's not Lois. I really do. I'm gonna go with Louis. Louis here definitely doing a great job of deflecting that, using the commander in just the right spot at just the right time. Unfortunately lost the pulsars, but they served their purpose. They deflected that attack pretty much flawlessly here. Definitely a very, very nice use case. JTL moving forward with the commander right now, and I think that's probably basically the last saving grace available here. Tactical missile launcher connects with the advanced geothermal over here and sends that to high hell. JTL trying to sit in position here. Yeah, it looks like there's some radar. I believe these Titans have radar, actually. Could be wrong. Either way, they're aware of this commander's existence, and they're not too keen to let it live here. Gunships coming out. Okay, let's see what they can do. Roughnecks, pretty awesome, but certainly have their use cases, right? They're not. They're sort of a general solution to a lot of problems, but not a general solution to every problem. Pulsar's wonderful against big specific targets. Much less impressive against some of the lighter chaff over here, like the ticks and the pawns that are being sent out right here. Fighters sent across. Anti-air carving through them quite nicely. It's also just a lot of T1 fighters I'm noticing. T1 fighters escorting T2 scout craft. There's a catapult on the front lines. That's exactly what I was hoping to see. Oh, we gotta keep it alive though. Gotta start pulling it back at this point. It's way too far forward. Oh no, it's gonna be blasted down. Yeah, that catapult, I mean, if it got a chance to fire 3, 4, 5 volleys, I would say it could probably do some serious damage, but it only got to fire about 2. Definitely not going to be powerful enough to push back these Titans right here. We need another massive spybot connection, I think. If we could get another huge spybot connection off and we could manage to stun at least 2 or 3 of these Titans right here, maybe we could do some serious damage. Just don't see it happening, though. There's so much chaff being forced through with those Titans as well here. I think the red team just has a advantage that they're keen to express right now. The Resbots also help to repair everything over here as well, keeping all of this well touched up. Nicely done by Waddle, microing back the injured Titans and using the Resbots to patch them up while the repaired ones march forward and try and do more damage. There is a defending Titan here. A Pulsar over on the right-hand side as well, trying to contribute however he can. Those Titans are just out of its reach here, unfortunately, for the blue commander. Marauder moving in now. Nice cursory accomplice to the red Titans, and I think the blue team knows it. With those Titans getting that close to the base, it was only a matter of time before they swamped across the map, eliminating the blue team here and securing victory for the red in this back and forth match. Man, what a close one. The red team managing to hold on to those T3 units, eventually turning the tides, but boy did the blue team get close over there on the left-hand side. What an exciting match, and I sure enjoyed it. Love to see these high-level games, and I sure hope you do too. You can always let me know how you feel about them down below in the comment section, whether you like watching the pros or whether you like watching the Joes. I like to take a tour around all over the place, so in case you're interested in daily Beyond Our Reason videos, you can always hit that subscribe button down below, joining up on the Brightworks, and I will see you in the very next Beyond Our Reason video. Peace out, folks.